Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to climb into bed. You'll pull a blanket over your body, lock your door, and fall asleep inside a structure designed to keep everything out. But for most of human history, there was no bed, no blanket, no door, no walls. When darkness fell, your ancestors lay down on open ground with nothing between them and whatever was hunting in the dark. And somehow, they survived. Not once, not by luck, but every single night, for millions of years. The real answer to how they did it is far stranger than you think. It wasn't courage, it wasn't fire, it wasn't even strength. The thing that kept your ancestors alive through the most dangerous hours of every single day was a collection of biological tricks so deeply wired into your body that you still carry them right now, tonight, whether you realize it or not. Your brain is running ancient software. Software designed for a world where sleeping meant risking death. And that software never got an update. Every weird thing your body does at night, every strange habit, every unexplained sensation when darkness falls is a survival tool left over from an era when shelter didn't exist. You just forgot what it was for. Picture the African savanna 2 million years ago. The sun drops below the horizon and the temperature falls fast. A group of Homo erectus, maybe 15 individuals, stops walking. There is no cave nearby, no tree thick enough to climb, just flat, open grassland stretching in every direction. And yet, they don't panic. They've done this every night of their lives. Anthropologist David Sampson at Duke University has spent years studying how early humans managed sleep without shelter. His research reveals something surprising. Your ancestors didn't sleep the way you do. They didn't lie down for 8 unbroken hours. They slept in short rotating shifts. Some members of the group stayed alert while others dozed. Sampson calls this sentinel behavior. And it's not unique to humans. Many social primates do it, but humans perfected it. The result was that at any given moment during the night, someone in the group had their eyes open. Someone was listening. Someone was ready. This is why you still wake up multiple times during the night even when nothing is wrong. Your body is running an ancient watch rotation. It checks the environment, confirms safety, and lets you fall back under. That 2 a.m. wake up that annoys you is not a flaw. It's a feature. One that kept your bloodline alive for 100,000 generations. But staying awake in shifts was only part of the strategy. The ground itself was a weapon. Archaeologist Lynn Wadley at the University of the Witwatersrand in South Africa uncovered something remarkable at Sibudu Cave. Layers of compressed plant material dating back 77,000 years. These weren't random piles of leaves. They were deliberately constructed bedding. Wadley found that the plants chosen, particularly a species called Cryptocarya woodii, contain natural insecticidal chemicals. Your ancestors weren't just lying on soft material. They were lying on bug repellent. They selected specific plants that drove away mosquitoes, ticks, and biting flies. This matters enormously. Insect-borne disease was one of the leading killers in prehistoric Africa. Malaria alone could wipe out an entire group. By choosing the right leaves to sleep on, early humans created a chemical barrier between their bodies and infection. And here's what's strange. When Wadley examined the oldest layers, she found evidence that these beds were periodically burned and rebuilt. Your ancestors were sanitizing their sleeping surfaces with fire. They understood, without germ theory, without microscopes, that old bedding became dangerous. They replaced it. They kept themselves clean in a world without soap or medicine. Now consider what happened on nights when there was no cave at all. Open air, no walls, no ceiling, just sky and stars and the sound of predators. How did 15 sleeping primates avoid being eaten? The answer involves your nose, specifically smoke. Fire wasn't primarily a weapon against predators, it was a wall, a perimeter. Anthropologist Francis Burton at the University of Toronto argued that early humans used fire not to fight animals but to create a sensory boundary. Smoke carries far. It saturates the air in every direction. Nocturnal predators, especially big cats, rely heavily on scent to hunt. A curtain of smoke scrambles their ability to locate prey by smell. It blinds their noses. Burton's hypothesis suggests that fire transformed open ground into a kind of invisible shelter. You couldn't see the walls, but a leopard could smell them. The ring of smoke told every predator within a half-mile radius that something unnatural was burning here, and animals avoid the unnatural. They avoid what they cannot predict. This is why campfire smoke still makes you feel safe even though you live in a world without leopards. Your nervous system remembers what smoke means. It means the perimeter is active. It means nothing is getting through. But fire has a limitation. It needs fuel. It needs attention. And on wet nights after rain, fire becomes unreliable. So your ancestors developed another tool, one that required no fuel, no effort, and no planning: sleep architecture. Neuroscientist Jerome Siegel at UCLA has studied sleep patterns across dozens of pre-industrial human societies still living without electricity or modern shelter. What he found challenges everything you were told about sleep. These populations don't sleep 8 hours. They sleep 6 to 7. They fall asleep roughly 3 hours after sunset, not at sunset itself, and they wake naturally before dawn. Siegel's data suggests that the human body is designed to remain alert during the first few hours of darkness, the most dangerous window when nocturnal predators are most active and still hunting near where humans settled. Your ancestors stayed awake and watchful during early night, then slept during the coldest, quietest hours when predators had already moved on. Your body still does this. It's why you get a second wind at 9 or 10 at night, even when you're exhausted. Your biology is telling you the danger window is still open. Don't sleep yet. Wait, there's another layer. Your body temperature drops during sleep. This isn't accidental. It's a thermal strategy millions of years old. When you're asleep and your core temperature falls, you radiate less heat into the environment. You become harder to detect by predators that sense infrared radiation. Snakes, for example. Many species of pit viper can detect the heat signature of a sleeping mammal from several feet away. By lowering your thermal output during sleep, your body makes you slightly less visible to heat-sensing hunters. It's not a perfect cloak, but in a world where every small advantage meant the difference between waking up or not, it mattered. Researcher Michael Hastings at the Medical Research Council in the UK has shown that this temperature drop is tightly controlled by your circadian clock. It's not random, it's timed. Your body cools most dramatically during the hours when you are most vulnerable. This same cooling is why you reach for a blanket at 3 in the morning, even when the room hasn't changed temperature. Your core is deliberately shedding heat following an ancient instruction set designed for open-air sleeping on the savannah. The blanket isn't fixing a problem, it's interfering with a strategy. Now think about how your ancestors chose where to sleep. Not randomly, never randomly. Paleoanthropologist Willoughby at the University of Alberta documented patterns in early human site selection that reveal sophisticated threat assessment. Elevated ground was preferred, not hilltops, which are exposed to wind and visible to predators, but slight rises with sight lines in multiple directions. Your ancestors wanted to see anything approaching without being silhouetted against the sky. They positioned themselves near water but not directly beside it, because water sources attract predators at night. They favored spots with a natural barrier on at least one side, a rock face, a dense thicket, a termite mound large enough to block a direct charge. These weren't conscious architectural decisions. They were instincts refined over millions of years of selection pressure. The groups that slept in exposed positions got eaten. The groups that slept in calculated positions passed on their genes. You carry those genes. It's why you prefer sleeping with your back against a wall. It's why a bed in the center of an open room feels subtly wrong. Your body is still choosing a campsite every night. Sound was the final perimeter. Your ears don't shut off during sleep. They can't. They evolved specifically not to. During the lightest stages of sleep, your auditory cortex remains active, scanning for anomalies. This is why a sudden silence can wake you just as fast as a loud noise. Your brain knows what the normal soundscape should be. Insects chirping, wind in grass, distant animal calls. When that background drops away, it means something large has entered the area and every small creature has gone quiet. That sudden silence is an alarm older than language. Neuroscientist Jeffrey Eliff at the University of Washington has shown that the sleeping brain sorts incoming sounds into two categories: expected and unexpected, and only triggers wakefulness for the second category. This explains why you can sleep through traffic noise if you live in a city but wake instantly to an unfamiliar creak. Your brain is running a prehistoric threat filter. It knows what belongs and what doesn't. 2 million years ago, what didn't belong in the soundscape at 3 in the morning was the soft padding of a large cat's feet. Today, it's a floorboard. The software is the same, only the input has changed. Consider what all of this means together: rotating sleep shifts, chemical bedding, smoke perimeters, delayed sleep onset, core temperature suppression, strategic site selection, auditory threat filtering. None of these required tools, none required technology. They required biology. Your body was the shelter, your group was the wall, your brain was the alarm system. Every component of surviving a night without shelter was built into the organism itself, layered over millions of years of relentless selection. The humans who lacked these adaptations didn't leave descendants. You exist because every one of your ancestors stretching back in an unbroken chain, successfully slept without shelter and woke up alive the next morning. Not once, every single night, for millions of years. That fact should stagger you. The chain never broke, not one night. If it had broken even once, you wouldn't be here reading this. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to climb into bed. You'll pull a blanket over your body, lock your door, and fall asleep inside a structure designed to keep everything out. But now, you know something you didn't before. Your body doesn't actually need that structure. It never did. The walls, the locks, the blankets, they're all redundant systems layered on top of something far older and far more sophisticated. You are the shelter. You always were. Every strange thing your body does at night, every unexplained wake up, every temperature drop, every moment you freeze at an unfamiliar sound in the dark, is proof that you are carrying a survival system perfected across millions of years of open air sleeping. It never stopped running. It never switched off. You just stopped needing it. But it's still there, humming beneath the surface every night, keeping watch while you sleep behind your locked doors, guarding you against threats that no longer exist, faithfully executing code written on the African savannah 2 million years ago. You are not defenseless in the dark. You never were.